Man, it's Bword, man. I'm back with another one. This time I want to talk about my first mushroom trip. Let's get into it. All right, man. My first mushroom trip. My first trip, it's probably around maybe like 2 or 3 years ago. And I came across some B plus mushrooms. B plus. And I had them. Well, my first time I took them, I only took maybe like a gram like that. Didn't really feel the whole trip experience, but I kind of I felt the energy that it was gonna produce. But it wasn't a full trip. I can tell you right now, it was not a full trip. Like I was still able to, you know what I'm saying? Like not, my ego wasn't dissolved at this point. So I don't even call that my first trip. Like my first trip, I went in 3 grams. Yeah, as your first time going that high, you kind of scared because you just don't know what it's gonna do. You just don't know how it's gonna make you feel. But I'm gonna tell you exactly the whole process it went through and how I felt and everything I thought. So I end up grinding them up into like a smoothie, some kind of smoothie, I think. And I like all kinds of milk and bananas. I tried to make it tasteless because the first time the gram I took, oh my God, it was disgusting, bro. Mushrooms are nasty, bro. And when you eat them, they just ugh. So I made the smoothie, got it all nice and milky and smoothie. And I took it all, boom. I just downed the whole thing, boom. So I would say maybe like 30 or 40 minutes later, I started getting really tired. Like, started getting kind of like, I need to lay down. And after now, I've done the mushrooms hundreds of times at this point. That's when you know you finna have a great trip. When you go me personally, my body, because I know people have all kinds of ways they take them in. But me personally, when I get kind of tired and to lay down, that's when I know that my trip is about to begin. So this time I lay down on my futon, man. I'm just like, man, maybe I should take a nap. In my mind, I'm like, man, I'm gonna take me a nap before the trip gets started, bro. I'm not knowing that it's already full blast. So I lay down, I close my eyes. Next thing you know, it's just like this overwhelming rush of like energy just pulsing through me, bro. Just like it's the equivalent I always say is like Goku, like when he turned into a Super Saiyan. I could just imagine, how he felt. I know it's a cartoon, but you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like you turn into a Super Saiyan, bro. So I'm laying down and I'm feeling it. I'm like, oh, like just feeling the energy, feeling the thoughts and all kinds of, you start remembering stuff that you ain't thought about in years, bro. Like dreams, you start remembering dreams, like, and then it finally subsides. That's why I said it comes in waves. It comes like these waves, and it comes back down, and it comes back up, and it comes back down. So at this particular time, it finally subsides, and I can kind of like get up and look around, bro. And I look around, and just like everything is like I'm looking through like a lens. I'm like, everything's just like extra sparkly. All the lights got like they're just lit up. I'm like, yo. And then the next thing you know, the wave goes subside again. It's like it's coming and going. So I'm still sitting up on my futon, just like amazed that this level of consciousness was always here. I'm like, whoa. And my very first thought that I really just thought on my own was like, what is this? Like, what is all of this? Like, forget the mushroom trip. Like, it's like it opened up a new portal of thought for me. I was like, what is this human stuff? Like, what is this life? Like, we be born, then we die. Like, what is all of this? I'm like, we got eyes, nose, mouth, skin. I'm like, whoa, my thoughts was just like, I was super curious. It's almost like I became God or something. Like I became energy. That's why I say and that's why I always say, if you're not wrapped tight already, Like, if you're not already, here in this sober, you know what I'm saying? Like, don't try mushrooms. Like, you already hearing voices, or you already kind of, loosey goosey or whatever, man, don't try mushrooms. Because it's gonna take your thoughts to, like, God level. God level. And so I know some people cannot handle that. Because it's like, whoa, I was like, what is this? Like, is this life? Like, is this life? Like, why are we working so hard? That's all I was thinking. Like, why is everybody not coming together, and we trying to go to Mars all together? Like, why are we trying to learn? And that's why I said the kind of thoughts I was thinking was like, whoa. Like, nothing, no crazy bad thoughts, but just the thoughts of just like all of this life around us, the trees, and you know what I'm saying, the grass, like everything to the grass. I was like looking at the grass like, wow, this is alive. It has its own level of consciousness probably that we can't even tap into. Those kind of thoughts, man, the ego dissolving thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Those, and that wave came and go. Now you have these different waves. It's just who you are as a person. You start to look at yourself like, man, you start to look at your character like, man, like all the stuff that I was, mad about and beefing about, like, my way of thinking is just like, what have I been thinking all this time? Like, that's why I always say, like, these mushroom trips for me is self-therapy. Like, I don't take it every day, but I let my life build up, not take it. You know what I'm saying? I reflect on everything I've been doing and all the times I get angry, happy, sad, like whatever. And it was like my first trip was a staple. It was like the bar. It was like it just opened up, like, I would say, my third eye into how I see stuff and see people. And when people do certain things, so I kind of understand why now. Although it's not right, I understand, like, oh, that guy must not have a lot of love in his life, or that woman must be, scorned from a relationship. Because it's like, once you take the mushrooms, you see that we already, like, programmed to, you know what I'm saying? Like, to already be, like, it's not a hard program to crack, is what I'm saying. Like, everybody's already programmed to these lives. Like, what am I trying to say? It's like you already pretty much destined. Like, you can't think about nothing that's not in your brain. Like, we can't have a conversation with grass. You know what I'm saying? Like, you already programmed. You already are it. And that's what the mushrooms, like, it opened that up. Like the program was ceased to exist, and then you can think on a higher level. That's what made me think, like, what is all this? Like, what created this, the beginning? Like, what made the creator say 2 arms, 5 hands, or 5 fingers, 2 hands? You can grab, you can talk, you can see, like, you can smell, like, I was like, all them kind of thoughts just run through your mind. Like, why is it only, a certain amount of senses? Like, you can hear, smell, you can see. Like, what about the other ones? Like, that's not programmed in our brain. Like, that's why I said it takes you to a whole other level of thinking. And that's why I said, if you're not wrapped too tight already, you shouldn't try it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not one of those people like, oh, mushrooms are for everybody. No. I feel like it's for the elite human beings, the elite consciousness. Because that's the only people who can really, I call it, ride that mushroom dragon and tame that thing, tame it. So you could use these thoughts and, expand your horizon of thinking. You know what I'm saying? Because if you just not wrapped too tight, bro, it can take you to a place that I feel like you will never come back. Because you was already, you know what I'm saying? You was already not all the way here, regular. Yeah, my first trip, man, it was an amazing experience. And you know what I'm saying? I got stories, all kinds of trip reports. But my very first one was just the overall question I just kept asking, like, what is all of this? What is this? Like, what is this life that we're in? Like, You know what I'm saying? You don't get these kind of thoughts because your brain's already programmed into it. It's like, boom, you're born, you here. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had these thoughts of being just super grateful to even be chosen to be a part of this game of life. Because I look at my younger brother, that doesn't exist yet. He doesn't exist. I have no younger brother. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, it sounds so crazy, but it's like, why didn't he get lucky enough to be born? You know what I'm saying? Why did I get lucky enough to be born in this? Like right now, in the present. And it's like, wow, and that's what makes people, take mushrooms. You be grateful. You end your trips and it's like, thank you, God. Thank you, God, for letting me see that I can't understand. That's all I could come. That's every conclusion, every trip I make. I thank God for just allowing me to participate, because our little brains cannot comprehend the level of when we say God or our creator. We can't even, because our brain isn't made for that. It's like how these phones and these computers are programmed to do that. They're not programmed to go bowling. They're programmed to do nothing else. They programmed to do what they're supposed to do. Just like our bodies and our minds are. Like, and you just become grateful. You have this overwhelming sense of gratitude towards the creator. Like, thank you for just letting me be a part of this, man. Like, because a lot of people didn't make it. Didn't make it to existence. And you just be like, and that's another thing you learn too. You learn that, yeah, you can't, there's no way that you can comprehend it. So you have this level of relief, like, yeah, that's out of my league. Like trying to figure out what God is, that's out of my league. But I'm grateful to be a part of you, type of deal, like a part of God or the creator or whatever your higher being is that you consider. But yeah, man, that's my first mushroom trip. I've never really talked about it, you know what I'm saying? I tell my friends, but I've never really just publicly spoke on my first mushroom trip. And yeah, man, it's the Last Word TV. I have some more trip reports that I'm gonna share, but I wanted to get the first one out the way, my first insight into magic mushrooms and shrooms or whatever you want to call them. You know what I'm saying? It's the Last Word TV.